Mark Knight is back from his annual leave. He's back from a break and he's on fire with some of the absolute cracker cartoons this weekend. My friend, you have been on fire and you couldn't help but throw the poor old opposition leader, coalition members on a bus with One Nation. Let's have a look. Talk us through that.
Well, you know, we're all back to school this week, Pricey, and of course in Canberra they're all back to the big school on Capitol Hill, and I can't resist doing the old school bus scenario. And you know how the tough kids used to sit down the back and throw things at the weaker kids up the front. And a poor old David.
I mean, those four faces are outstanding.
They are four great characters, and I love them. I did have a few more people in there, but I felt it diluted attention from what was really going on.
Poor old Pauline sitting up the back, Barnaby throwing things at them. I love it. Sussan Lee's also been in your sights this week. She was doing the Champions Walk at the Australian Open. What's this about?
Well, you know, this is as she headed out to the centre court for the parliamentary year, let's say that. And we all love the Australian Open, and those great scenes they had of the players walking down this Champions Walk, of all the former winners before they go out onto centre court. And let's just say, I think Sussan Lee's chances of having her picture on that Champions Walk is a little bit remote at the moment.
You might lose her next week. That'll be a bit of a sad day for you. Now, I love this cartoon. This is an early tyre change for the Victorian Premier. She's had a pretty rough start to the political year, and the wheels are falling off.
Well, yeah, she sort of kicked the campaign off this year, even though the election's not due till November. But off they went. They blew the starter's gun, and as anybody knows who lives in Victoria, you can't drive 50 metres down the road and not hit a pothole.
Correct.
And there are many potholes, if we want to use political analogies for her on this campaign, that's for sure.
I reckon this has been one of your strongest starts for the year. It's been absolutely incredible. The one that I really loved and I particularly wanted to talk to you about involves Dr. Jim Chalmers. Now, Dr. Jim Chalmers has all week this week, Mark, been trying to say, oh, well, you know, inflation's driven by private enterprise, not by government spending. Here's a pile of $100 notes. Michelle Bullock sitting there stoking the fire, and Jim's throwing the money into the train carriage to get it moving.
Well, you know, the economy is a bit like a steam train at the moment, and it's going a little bit too hard. And Michelle Bullock, the RBA governor, she wants to slow it down. So there she is. She's pulling on the handbrake. And what is Jim doing to help her? He's actually stoking the fire with government spending dollars. And it was interesting. I was watching the Senate committees today. That says a lot about my life. But I was watching Michelle Bullock before the Senate committee, and she did admit that government spending was a leading contributor to inflation. So there you go.
And my column's up online. It'll be in the paper tomorrow. You've been very kind to me as usual. I've written a piece about Blackout Bowen and his electric vehicle policy. And I've called him a car salesman, and I can do that because my dad was a car salesman. There he is in the EV sales yard, Mark.
Nothing wrong with the noble art of selling used cars, Pricey. But, mate, you did drop this one beautifully in my lap. Thank you very much, mate. You know, he's in the brown sort of checkered suit with the orange tie. He's out there in the yard flogging his EVs, which I don't think many people actually want. But, you know, he's out there doing his shtick, and what could go wrong?
Great to have you back, my friend, and your cartoons this week have been absolutely brilliant. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. Mark Knight, just fantastic work this week.